Thank you for participating in AfroEconomics Live. It is each Wednesday night. I go out of my way to make sure that I pick a topic that I want to share that I think is important for you to think about. And sometimes, like this week, I think of what I want to talk about, and then I go, you know what? I also want to talk about this, and I also want to talk about that. So tonight, I wanted us to just think about what are some of the biggest companies in the U.S. Where were you born? What is the biggest company for that particular state where you were born? And what has changed in your birth state from as far as from a corporate environment from when you were born to what are the hot industries today. um like and I used as an example when I sent out the invitation to, and make sure if you don't get my invitations, make sure you go to afroeconomics.com, the website you see behind you, and register, subscribe. It's free. And just go directly to the events calendar and register for an event, and you'll be invited from that day on. So, but I want us to just start thinking on a business corporate level, to just think deeper about everything. If I can accomplish that in Afroeconomics, then I've accomplished it all, because that's the point for all of the 10 principles, from legacy to the ending of the 10th principle of Black health, Black wealth. All of that goes in. So when I say that, I want to think about what are, what is the biggest corporation in the state where you were born? Does anybody know the biggest corporation in the state where they live now? Where do you live? And that's for those of you who are participating. Where do you live? And what is the largest publicly traded corporation in the state where you live now? Right? What do you think about? Like Twyla gave me a whole bunch of stuff. Look, she knows a lot about her home state of Ohio. Indeed. So and LeBron James too. Yep. Was LeBron James born in your home city? One of these days, like Twyla, which one? Like, well, Miss Hayes, where were you born? And I can tell you if it's Amazon or Capital One. The Amazon or Capital One. Well, let's look. I'm gonna show you something. The isn't that interesting though? Because like when I thought about North Carolina, I was definitely not thinking that it was going to be Bank of America. Well, I'm gonna do it the best way. I don't know why I was thinking about doing it behind me, but I'm gonna share it on the screen with you. That's a much smarter thing to do, JB. So I'm gonna show you this, and you'll be able to see, and you're gonna be really shocked, Miss Hayes. She's talking about Virginia. Now, I don't think like this, and I'm gonna make it bigger once I share the screen with you. You'll know why I need to make it bigger. And once I start doing this, I'm not gonna be able to see a lot of your. Miss Hayes said, "What about VCU?" No, look at this. If you can, it's not really making me get it, but if you can see right in here, this little arrow is going to Virginia, and this arrow down here is going to North Carolina. Look at that. What does that say? If you can see it, it says General Dynamics this is a 2019, the biggest corporation for Virginia. Isn't that something? And then so a lot of times we don't, and I wish I could see if I can do this. If this goes, it doesn't want to make it bigger. The other one over there will do it even better, but I'm not sure. Oh, let's see. I think I can make yeah, that's it. Look at that. If I go to like 150%, and I hope hopefully this will help you. You can see it even more. But look at here, this section pulls out like New York. New York, but it's kind of hard for you to say, but this is New York up there, and New York is, guess, who wants to guess what the largest corporation as of the printing of this, which was 2019, what was the biggest company in New York? Without really looking at it, who wants to guess? No, oh, I can't. Wait a second, I'm coming. Yeah, and it has to be publicly traded. The Look, Mr. Jenkins said, would it be the federal government for DC? Probably the no. You Maurice was wondering for New York if it was NBC. Nope, it's Verizon. Look, Verizon comes on down here for New York. Amazing, right? The you would be, I want to just share with you, like, what are the largest corporations anyway? Like, what are, let's just say, I'm going to give you the top 10, and then I will share that with you. Now I have so many different computers where I went in on one and going on another. The largest. So I have it over here. List of the largest companies by revenue. You can look at this list and see your largest companies by profits as well. So by revenues, Walmart wins. By profits, Apple wins. But does anybody know where Walmart is based out of? So we can like just do the top 10 companies, like what companies are making the most money and where are they based out of? Who knows where Walmart is based out of? Which would be considered their home, their corporate home of Walmart. Who knows? Indeed. Dr. Williams, Gary Robinson. Yes, indeed. Mr. Jenkins, Mr. A.C. Johnson. It could be a woman or a man. Arkansas is right. What about where is the home? And then the next one, no, this is great trivia. This one, I was asking Michael, and I was like, seeing if he would guess, because it is really hard to guess this, and you cannot Google this. How many employees did Walmart have around upon the time of this printing? Approximately how many employees does Walmart have? It's crazy how the media is so engrossed. Right, Mr. Jenkins? Good guess. My sweetheart guessed about the same thing. He said about 100,000. I know, right? That seems like a lot, right? Maurice, 250,000, still not enough. And then, of course, Dr. Williams comes with, he could only guess that because he Googled it, because he said 2.2. Now, if you had said 2 million, Dr. Williams, I would have said, maybe you didn't Google it. But he has right there, it has 2.2 million. As if they didn't let any people go. Look, but is, as of 2019, 2.2 million. That is amazing. And Amazon, like, this is when everything was fine. Amazon had 647. That's like almost like a quarter of that. Just about 25%. And it's like Walmart is ranked number 1 in revenues. Amazon is ranked number 6. Amazon was not ranked top in profit either. No, like Apple was ranked top in profit. If I had to have a list, I want to be on the top in profit. Right? The followed by top in profit, Apple, JP Morgan, Alphabet. Who is Alphabet to us? Who is Alphabet? Do you know what Alphabet, like on every day, if you wanted to tell me that I want to invest in Alphabet, what would you actually say that I want? That's right. Leslie got it. Google. That's right. And it trades the corporate name is Alphabet for Google. Bank America number 4, Wells Fargo number 5, Facebook number 6. Look, goodness gracious. I didn't even get to Amazon yet. It's not even on the top 20. We gotta give Jeff a break. the, the Intel, Exxon, AT&T, Citigroup, Microsoft, Fannie Mae, Verizon, number 13, Verizon, Johnson and Johnson, 14, Chevron, Micron, Walt Disney, 17, Pepsi, Broadcom, United Health Group, 20. Top 20 most profitable. The pharmaceuticals, no, it would probably switch if they did it now. But nope, there was a healthcare, that United Health Group, technology. They consider Apple Electronics, gave it number 1. Financials, boom. Number 2, financials. Number 4, boom. Number 5, boom, financials. Then technology is number 3, number 6, number 7, number 11, number 16. Wow. So if anything, any category in the most profitable comes on, the pharmaceutical. Guess which one it was? Johnson and Johnson. But not grocery. No. Right? The and Johnson and Johnson, what's it, comes number 14. And none of this should you all, yes indeed, my sweetheart said Google as well. The Google, a lot of y'all said Google is right after. I'm sorry, sweetie, I didn't see you. Oh, Moses said Google before Leslie. He was quick. It was 8:21. Oh, Mike and Leslie, y'all were a tie for 8:22. And then Twyla, 8:22. Uh-oh, 3-way tie. Yo, what? That was easy. What was easy? Oh, the alphabet. See, what you think is easy is not always easy. And we shouldn't, don't take anything for granted. That's what we are here for. If I can't, you know what I mean? That is my responsibility to make sure anything that I know that might help you, we got to share it, right? Some of you might think is easy. I need you to make sure I know about Moses. Don't tell me it's easy. Look, Yo, see? Miss Hayes works in corporate America, and she thinks Google is Google. She didn't know they were hiding out as Alphabet. They hiding from us. So we definitely, how you doing, Mr. Smith? So let's continue in thinking about I want to talk about like the major corporations in the places where you are before we go on to our other discussion I want to make sure that we talk about. So I'm going to look, again on, you came in, we had a lot of Virginia. Remember, that's General Dynamics. Has to be talking about like up in Northern Virginia, because in Southern Virginia, we don't have a lot of General Dynamics down in the Richmond and below area. So that's why I can see why you would say Capital One, because when you're in Richmond and you ask people where they work, most people say like Capital One or Health, Anthem or something like that. But but General Dynamics is the largest company that is based out of Virginia. Delaware got DuPont. New Jersey has Johnson and Johnson. Maryland, guess what yours is from Maryland? Largest company in Maryland as of the printing as of the printing of that blue map in 2019, out of you you yeah, you the Yahoo Finance, uh the which nope, wasn't the you're making sure I go back, but it wasn't. I know it wasn't Marriott, but that's a good guess. It was Lockheed Martin, right? It makes sense now that we think about it. Verizon in New York, that makes sense too. Like, I used to have a lot of calls from the Bell Atlantic out of Verizon, but like, out of that area. Then Bell Atlantic merged and they created all of that Verizon, and I would like to meet a lot more. I would like for us to have a lot more members that are there, because I want to help them maximize the 401k, because they changed when it changed from Bell Atlantic to Verizon. The pension plan changed dramatically. So it makes it more important for you to learn how to maximize the 401k and be on top of how you're investing in those options. Vital. I mean, I'm saying that over and over, and I bet a lot of you have had companies change, or mergers, or become a contractor from working with the government, and then all of a sudden the contract, that's going to be a lot. So if that happens, we need to talk about how is this change from being a government employee to being a contractor? How is this going to impact you? What can you do to protect yourself? Because sometimes there's not the same level of benefits, but sometimes there are benefits that you're losing, and you get real caught up on what you're losing, but you're not seeing what you're gaining. A lot of times you're gaining additional additions to, say, you may have only had a 4% match because you had a pension. Now the new plan has an 8% match to the 401k, but no pension. But, how do we maximize that? So what about Texas? Texas, the state of Texas. If you were born in Texas, what now is probably the same company that is the same one that when you were born was the number one company in Texas. That's what they do in Texas. What is that? Somebody tell me. Exactly. Dr. Williams got it. Indeed. He got Exxon. And it is oil. And it is oil. Yes, indeed. Y'all are thinking. And it's like, right? And it was probably that 50 years ago. It may not have been publicly traded. It was probably that 100 years ago. They were making most of the money. But that is amazing. My mother used to work for Southwest, yeah, Bell, and Ohio Bell, yeah, indeed, and it just changed everything. And I apologize because I don't know where I put that, so I hope that it won't bother you a lot. You might not even be able to hear it, but I can hear alarm going off in this room as we focus on this. And the benefits plan changed right as she was getting out. Oh yes. Yeah, one of, like, now is General Dynamics, but there could have been a time in Virginia and in North Carolina when tobacco companies were the biggest companies and biggest employers in that state, and then all of a sudden, that it got totally switched over, to now you're talking about financial services companies, or, the General Dynamics, companies that are doing some things totally different, and then I would have thought also, like, Boeing or something. So, and Boeing doesn't even come up. Like, if I look at my revenue companies, top revenues, I don't even see. It's a look hard, like to look hard, but in this, wow, I'm down, way down. But there was a time that probably Boeing was up near the top, like, but now you got your Chevron, you got AT&T, you got General Motors, Alphabet, in your top two, your revenues, Walgreens, JP Morgan, Verizon, as far as revenues, um, Verizon brings it all. Look, 21 in revenues, Kroger. Kroger, Miss Hayes, finally the grocery store. But with this corona situation, that I bet the groceries might have, this top 20 may actually change by the end of 2020. What we're looking at might be totally different. Yes, indeed, Dr. Williams. JB Bryan Financial Group, a registered investment advisory firm, is indeed the biggest hearted company in Virginia that I know of. There ain't no greater love given out than from JB Bryan Financial Group. The Philip Morris, yes, it was. Philip Morris used to be huge. But thank you, Mr. Jenkins. I Cindy, don't. I hope you never, 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 never doubt me. The so the look and the hi, how you doing? Like so, somebody raised their hand. Hi, Loretta. Make sure you send me a chat if you want, if you have a question or something, or you might just be saying hi. Because sometimes when you put up your hand, to me, that means that you want to come on camera. The add research companies in Triangle Park, North Carolina, to the list. I know, but they're not. They're not on the top. They're not leading the way. I wonder how many people in Virginia and in North Carolina they're actually employing. I don't see if I saw it really quick, but top employers probably in the whole United States of America is Walmart. But think about how many part-time people that is. That's why I have moved away from looking at the unemployment figures as an economic indicator for even, I don't even think that we should, I mean, it's amazing how many people still do, and the news still talks about it. But to say that unemployment numbers have gone down doesn't mean anything really, because I would have to break it down farther. Just like with this, when I don't know if you heard me on the Carl Nelson show yesterday, but I was talking about their labor department made a mistake and they misrepresented the unemployment numbers. But I think to not break it down to part-time and full-time is to misrepresent unemployment numbers. And even to get so far as to, are there people who are working, but they're working because they have to work because their unemployment ran out and they're underemployed? They are not doing anything close to what they should be doing. And I guess that might fall under the part-time, but there's probably people that are working full-time that are underemployed. So that's a major problem, right? And you missed it. Yeah, that's all right. Yeah, I recorded it and soon I will post it, because I have I go to the studio and then I take all the commercials out and I will be sharing it with you on our YouTube channel real soon so that you can get right to the meat of it. Had a lot of call-ins too. So then let's talk, before you leave me, let's talk about if there's any other state that you want. Just know that in your email, in your invitation, the map that I am sharing is actually remember, that is in the email. So this right here that I've shared with you, you have this in your email invite. And if you look real close, that's right. That's right, Elizabeth. If you look real close in this, then it starts making more sense. But when you just look at it, it's like, what in the world? Like, you look over, here, and then you'll see Apple. Apple is in California. That's their leading. Look over here in Washington State, Amazon. And I looked at an older map from like 2013 that broke it down like this. And it was interesting to me that this used to be Starbucks in Washington State. That was the biggest. And now that is Amazon. and then you know, the Nike for Oregon, and that's something, right? So, this is interesting, but I just thought, like, wow, like your think of it, look at it more from like where you were born is more interesting than just where you live right now. Yeah, Nike, isn't that something? Yeah. I wonder and the, and then so let's look at I'm going to let's talk a little bit about subsidies and the stock market and what's holding the stock market up, and how are we getting how is it that bad news comes out, and then we'll see the stock market rise after you know obviously bad news that you have historically high unemployment, but the market has factored in. See, the and this is I just took this headline and I shared this with you because it just kind of like took me the wrong way. It says NASDAQ closes at all-time high. Now this is from the 8th, June 8th, at the end of the day. Dow less than 7% off record. And then Wall Street looks for Fed to keep support intact. What are you talking about? Can you imagine? So what I'm saying that as we move to this political season, I want us to understand that, and I have always believed this, that the reason the Black wealth gap is so far from white wealth is if you look at the participation in the stock market, it is totally opposite. Like I should be one of the wealthiest Black people on the planet because of all the Black people that you see online on YouTube that are anywhere close to as popular as me. They don't have any license and are not regulated and cannot help you set up a brokerage account. So I know beyond a shadow of a doubt, if I were a white man with a fraction of the popularity and commitment, even if he was focusing on Black people, the man would still, you know what I mean, be doing better than me as far as assets under management. Because we do not participate in the welfare plan. The welfare plan. Like, do you have any idea what welfare means? Yeah, Mr. Robinson. I mean, seriously, like ask any of those people that are on those shows, can you help me set up a brokerage account? Can you help me actually, or if you rob me, how do I get compensated? They will tell you, I'm not licensed. I've seen one of them be interviewed on The Breakfast Club, and The Breakfast Club said, now they're coming on, they're bringing them on because they want to give them to get financial advice to Black people. And they said, you're a financial advisor, right? You're a financial advisor, right? And he said he totally just skips around the point probably because the regulators told him, you better not say that you're a financial advisor. But the sad part is that the word says that we will perish due to lack of knowledge. Now, if it said to me that we will perish due to racism, then I would, you know what I mean? Then I wouldn't have to focus so much on making sure that we had knowledge. But it didn't say that. It said I would just focus on, you know what I mean, healing people who are racist. No, I wouldn't even focus on the victim. I would focus on healing the people that are racist. But he said that we will perish due to lack of knowledge. So, and I believe, God, that we have to be knowledgeable. But what we do is we focus on being educated. See, but the difference between being educated and being knowledgeable is how you look at this headline. See, because an educated person will just say Wall Street looks to the Fed to keep support intact. And they just go on with their day. But knowledge says, wow, wow. So the government is creating this support for that. So all of this stuff that I'm seeing basically is because the government in a political season is supporting this. Now, not just one political party either. You know what I mean? Congress has to approve all of this. The Fed is being pressured to make sure they keep down interest rates so that all of this can be done. All of the businesses can still, get the loans that they need and get, and the banks can loan money to each other, almost nothing overnight expenses. And they can do everything that me as a small business owner can never have the access to do. Never have the access to do. But the thesis of my point here is that if we continue to put all of our assets into residential real estate, then we will continue to be robbed. So what we'll do is if they say you can be approved for this federal loan to get this house and you can have a $2,000 a month payment for the house, then we go and get the $2,000 a month payment for the house instead of getting the $1,500 house payment and taking the other $500 and putting it into the welfare plan of Wall Street. So instead of me telling you that you need to be investing every month, I should be saying that you need to get involved in the welfare plan, because the government's going to make sure that you're all right. But the government, we know, will kick you out your house, because that's how we went through. That's how we went through the Great Recession. It impacted us greatly. They foreclosed on our house, but they won't let any of these businesses on Wall Street foreclose on nothing. Look, they are like, look, we're going to do everything we can for you to keep this together. What do you need? It's applied knowledge and information. Exactly. And Congress, that's where Mr. Robinson, these are Mr. Robinson's words. Applied knowledge and information is power. Congress is on board with this foolishness. Exactly. Dr. Williams says, this means that when the bailout dries up, the bottom will fall out. Exactly. When the bailout dries up, the bottom will fall out for the consumer. But Wall Street will still be okay for a while. And then eventually, after we get through this election season, it will all of a sudden, it will all be adjusted that we cannot continue to allow this to happen. We cannot have a national debt that is this high, and blah, all of these things will go on. Now check this out. Did you know that there's more money, that there's more subsidy that is given to people in middle and high income for housing than there are for people in Section 8 homes? This is Google. Just you go ahead and Google. I don't even want to show you. You just Google subsidizing of mortgage interest deduction versus Section 8. And you will see that by people being able to write off the interest on their mortgage, they are actually indeed being subsidized. So when that was taken out and the Trump administration increased the standard deduction, did that help us or hurt us? Y'all got to answer that question. So now you got to answer this. Did it help us or hurt us when the standard deduction was doubled from the average Black person perspective? And most people said hurt. But how could it hurt us when the average Black person does not benefit from that interest deduction? 70% of America 70% of America does the standard deduction on their tax return. 70%. So then you know that about 90% of us benefited from an increase in the standard deduction, but we got a congressional black caucus telling us that that didn't help us, that somehow us being helped was hurt. And then, I mean, I'm telling you, it says our people shall perish due to lack of knowledge. That was a serious move that helped black people. We have to be careful on what we allow people to make us think. And that's how I was telling my daughter. When somebody, the first time somebody told you that your hair was nappy, we had to decide to accept it. The first time that somebody told you that you didn't look as good as that girl on TV that was throwing around her hair, saying bouncing, behaving, we had to accept it. The first time somebody told you that you couldn't have your own business and take care of yourself, so you had to go get that job working for somebody else, we accepted it. You know what I'm saying? That don't make it true. They just told us that. But they told us that you go buy a house, then you get these tax deductions. That was a lie. They could have told you, you go and you participate and you get you an IRA. And that will reduce your taxable income dollar for dollar, and it will benefit you more than buying that house. But they didn't tell you that. They didn't tell you that. And how you invest it based on historical performance, if you put that into the stock market, because you know we got a welfare plan, we're going to make sure the market does all right. We ain't going to let them go down. So if you hang with them, but oh, no. You got to go out there and buy the biggest house in a neighborhood because it's all of us. We get discriminated against. They hyper criminalize us. So then your insurance rate's higher. They mess up our neighborhoods by coming at it, swarming around, arresting everybody, doing everything. So then it makes the crime rate in our neighborhoods go down. Your home value goes down. You don't get the appreciation, so it hurts us. All of that we're going through right now hurts us. And they don't even see financially. They don't even see that. That's what it is. Woo. And then I have to understand exactly what you're saying, Martin. You were talking about the 70%. So what I'm saying is that we have to get to the point where don't believe the hype. Everything that's said to us by any party, anything, let's look deeper. I was telling you when the new tax laws came out, and I had a client call me, and she whispered to me, and she said, I think this is going to help. I think this could be a good thing. She was whispering in a text. You can tell. She was like, I don't want to say nothing good. You ain't got to say nothing good about that man. You got to say something good about the strategy. That's all we have to do. I don't care who's in the house. I don't care which one of y'all are in the house. I got to know how to get it done most effectively based on the rules that I'm living by at that particular time. That's my job to do for you. Not to get personally mad or upset or disappointed and lose my mind about somebody's ignorant actions. We have to play the hand that we're dealt. This is it. And when you have an advisor, they're supposed to be doing that. They ain't supposed to be emotionally attached to nothing. You run into somebody and they're talking about how much they hate somebody, they this and this and that. They not studying the tax code. Study the tax code. I don't need to worry about that. What did he mean when Trump said that he was maximizing the tax code? I want to do that. What does it mean when it says people benefit from having their own business? And that's what we need to be doing. We need to understand what a Schedule C is. Protest that. Let's all get a Schedule C. I wish I could go downtown and tell those young people, I understand that you bored right now, but these people are using you to get their agenda through. And they don't have nothing to do with us. Because meanwhile, we still got minimum wage to deal with. We still got higher than any other group unemployment to deal with. We still have mass incarceration to deal with. We still have less likely to have any benefits at our job to deal with. We still have less likely to get a loan for my business to deal with. We still have all of that to deal with. So and then Ms. Crocker was saying, I wonder if the charities are suffering because the tax laws changed on the standard deduction is higher. So you don't have to give as much to charity. Because a lot of times now, if you give to charity, you don't get to count for it because you're just taking the standard deduction because it's so high now. But if you want to give to charity, shouldn't you still just give to charity? And that's what Charity said. Charity said, well, you shouldn't help all these people. You should just make sure that people have to give to us in order to get a tax write-off, you know? Well, while you're doing that, could you make sure that we get to write off everything we want to write off? Goodness gracious, you don't even have to pay taxes. Charities didn't even pay into unemployment, and they're getting unemployment. Who's going to pay that back? But yet every time a little black kid goes up there to get a school lunch, they got to put a news camera on it. But they ain't putting no camera on all these people who are writing off their homeowners' interest. And that's for people who have to go over like $24,000. Let's say it's a married couple and their standard deduction is $24,000. But their house payment is so big that the interest on that is, say, $3,000. They exceed $36,000 of interest. They exceed that standard deduction just so that extreme, that ability, you know, that is for the more fortunate. And, you know, they get to take that excess. But for the average person, doubling the standard deduction has really helped them. And for the nonprofit, they are blessed, especially at times like this. They're able to get those small business loans. They didn't even pay any money into the system. Their people are able to get unemployment, and they didn't even pay any unemployment insurance. All businesses have to pay unemployment insurance for their employees. And now, because the employees took out the unemployment, the business will have a higher payroll because of the penalty of their people having to get unemployment. But the nonprofit will never touch that, will never have to worry about that. And I'm wondering, why should taxpayers have to take that burden? Because the unemployment the charity doesn't even have to live by those same rules. It doesn't make sense to me how they can be paying out of your government money to a nonprofit that said they want a separation from the government. That's the point. They don't want the government to control them, but then you're going to take the money? But that's interesting. It's interesting. Aquila says, when you know better, you should do better. You still have their knee on, they still have their knee on our necks. They ain't got their knee on my neck. I'm gonna tell you that. JB, my dad always told me to never include my tithes in my tax to write off because he said that belonged to the Lord anyway. But I have never filed my charitable donations because I generally donate to other Black-owned nonprofits. They generally are sole proprietors and have a staff of 3 or less. Yeah, like you can, but I mean, I'm the same way. Like, but when you're a business owner, a business can give money or spend money like to a charity and write it as a business expense because it's a sponsorship for an event, you know, but a person doesn't have that, you know, as an option, but you still should not give to a charity because you don't get to write it off. I just really, like you said, I would say the overwhelming majority of Black people give to charities and don't even write it off. I would say, you know, most people, most of us, and they do, like they feel that you're supposed to be just doing it, and it, you know, and we're not that. But there are other people who only give to charity as a tax strategy, and that's the ones who are going to say that increasing the standard deduction or the nonprofit itself won't like that move. But but I talk to nonprofits and I tell them what you should do is structure for your people more creative things. Everything should be value added. Do more training, do more services, do more sponsorships, do more things that that aren't focused around just this is a donation of just a donation. But everybody has to be providing something to someone now. But that's the point. Even the church, God wanted the church to serve the community, to feed the homeless, to feed the widow, to feed the orphan, to take care of the orphan. That was the purpose. So, definitely we need to know that we should stop feeling that we are a burden as a people on this government. If anything, the government, the numbers show that the public housing, the Section 8 housing, and all of those are a fraction of the trillions of dollars that the government puts in to support the system of commerce in this country. They support business. That's what they do to keep it afloat, even though the government could focus on the government. But it's choosing to focus on the business because we have a mixed economy. It's not really true capitalism with the government infusing this much money into it. And as a business person, I feel that it weakens us. I've been looking at that throughout my career. And I'm like, that is amazing how much the government gets involved to help keep the market and businesses, big businesses, afloat. Because as small businesses, we don't get that kind of help. They have no problem with small businesses closing. It's just a statistic to keep up with. But from a big business perspective, we need to make sure that we're taking advantage of the opportunities available to us in making smart investments in the market. Smart investments. So why make it complicated? When I see people who, like somebody called in and was asking me about foreign exchanges, and sometimes people, ask me about gold bars and, ask me, why make it complicated when it's this easy to just, when you're looking at investing for the long term, why not invest in an economy where the government supports its very existence, does everything it can to keep it afloat? You stay in it long enough, it will survive. But you gotta be a long-term investor, and you gotta be, diversified, and you have to be smart. And people typically do better if they have a financial advisor that is pointing out these things that will help them through when it falls apart. But if you don't understand and are never participating in these type of conversations, then you will not be able to succeed in a market that you don't understand. And that's why we put so much in residential real estate, because we get it. But remember, it's a knowledge factor. We have to continue to broaden our knowledge. And that's why I wanted to talk about the corporate community and what companies are around you and getting more familiar with these names. And I mean, who would have thought that Amazon only has a fraction of the employees of Walmart when you see all this stuff? So let's continue to think. Let's continue to grow. I'm going to continue to bring every bit of enlightenment that I can bring. And even though sometimes you don't know, and you don't know, what does this mean? Why is this important? I don't see anybody else talking about it. That's what AfroEconomics is all about. If I'm not bringing you something different, if I'm bringing you something that's on CNBC, I'm bringing you from CNBC, and I'm bringing it to why it's important to us. Because on CNBC, all they're going to say is the NASDAQ closes at da-da-da-da-da. They don't see that this is a welfare plan. This is a welfare plan that my people are missing out on, right? Welfare, a type of government support for the citizens of that society. Welfare may be provided to people of any income level. So this is in Wikipedia for welfare. But it is usually intended to ensure that the people can meet their basic human needs, such as food and shelter. Welfare attempts to provide a minimal level of well-being, usually either a free or subsidized supply of certain goods and social services such as healthcare, education, and vocational training. Welfare state is a political system within the state that assumes responsibility, but welfare is a type of government support for the citizens of that society. That is the first sentence. That welfare includes allowing mortgage interest deduction, allowing like a lower capital gains rate than allowing a difference between a long-term capital gains and a short-term capital gain. Allowing, I mean, there are so many forms of welfare out there. They just don't call it that. And we embrace this stuff, acting like they doing it mostly for us. Like we're the ones. We're pulling on the system. The great economic divide. No, we're the best thing that ever happened to you. Ain't much difference between the free slaves when they were just, buying us and then not paying us at all, and the below living wage that the majority of us are getting now. But we just don't get it. And then if you look at the correctional system where we have millions of us working at like 50 cents an hour or something, that is ridiculous for Victoria's Secret and Boeing and furniture companies and all of this making money. You talking about welfare? And that's our government. That's our government, your Congress, both political parties allowing people who are over criminalized to be used for their benefit, and we are not getting it. Mr. Robinson says the whole system is a welfare state. Exactly. But they won't pass it off as that. Exactly. They owe us reparations. Exactly. You should see last month when I put that Bob Johnson wanted us to get 14 trillion. Oh my goodness. There's one guy on my YouTube. He can't stop making negative comments. But I was going to delete it, and I was like, no, people need to see how they think. He was like, you're not going to get any reparations, blah, blah. Oh, he's a billionaire. Easy for him to say. Where's he going to get the money from? Blah, 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 blah. Oh, my goodness. When folks, and Mr. Robinson said, when folks tell me this government doesn't owe us anything, I tell them, I'll take yours. I know that's right. I know that's right. That's so many things. It's indescribable how disgusted I get when I look at the news with someone in the system talking about there is systematic racism and they're in the system. That is ridiculous. That is ridiculous. How can you talk about a system that you have allowed to exist? And it didn't start when Mr. Floyd was killed. If you want to talk about a knee on the neck, you know what I'm saying? Way. Oh my goodness. My goodness. This is just sick. And the worst part is when we allow them to get in our head and then we start using their substances. Then they take us to the ground and then they want to use it against us that we got some sort of substance abuse problem. And then they put you in jail and nobody in the family has any money because nobody's been ever saving anything, but you got all different type of cars, all different type of consumer debt and the best shoes and the best purse because of what they did to make us feel that we are only what we show outside. Yes. They can't even pay you back for that. They can't even pay you back. They can't even pay you back for the subconscious crap that has been done to your children, our children, to us. The subconscious stuff that's been done that's broken our families apart. What trips me out is that nobody cares about the families broken apart because they caught their mom with a bag of weed and they go in and they take the kids, but somebody can come from another country illegally and they can care These same people that you vote for, they care about a stranger who didn't vote for them, but they don't care about you getting locked up and taking and breaking up your family, and 2 or 3 years your children have to be in a foster care system for having some weed when they want to legalize it. And Twyla said, Twyla used to be a police officer in Ohio, and I had to leave because I could not fight the blue wall. It is hard for honest cops to function. This I went to the classroom side. Good for you. Mr. Robbins said, it's amazing. These folks don't want us to have anything. Look at our Black Wall Street, how they destroyed it. Folks said they should have not had all of this stuff. Exactly. But that's what I was saying to Carl on Monday. And something came up and they were talking about, the Tulsa, they call that the race riots. But how can that be a race riot? And then I was glad when I looked online and they called it the race massacre. That's what it is. You killed all these people because they were Black. That's what I'm saying? It's a race riot as if Black people go after white people and white people, that would be a race riot. But these were Black people that were killed because they were Black and tore down a whole legacy. And then I was watching the video and they said, but the amazing thing is they're still there, with the same store, the same size. And not one of those companies is on the biggest in the state. None of those are number one. None of ours are number one. None of it. As if we just came here. Well, people can come to the country and become CEO of a major corporation. But we've been robbed. And every time I get close, like you said, I get close, and then you burn down my entire building, and then we struggle, and you get close, and then you burn it down again. Mr. Robinson blames the educational system. Folks don't know our accomplishment in this country. The education system is not made for us to succeed. It's not made. Nobody, especially now, there's so many people that I have met that have said that people told them, don't do that, do this, and you can't do that, and don't do that. And the sad part is, too many of us say it to the young Black kids about what they can't do and what they can't be. My English teacher told me from Petersburg High, she said, a Black lady told me that I would never pass college English. And I started to send her, now it's a senior year, now I'm gonna be in my senior year, I passed English all these years, and then all of a sudden, I'm never gonna pass college English. How can you say something like that to somebody? And then as I got older, and then they asked me to come back to my high school to speak. She was on the school board. And she said, well, Bryan, didn't I teach you? And I said, this lady doesn't even remember saying those mean things to me. I said, yes, ma'am, you did. Twyla said she had to buy dictionaries for students because the school did not have money to purchase them. Yeah, like this lady, I was in the classroom, and one of the kids a young Black man needed to take the exam, and he didn't have book money because there was a certain amount of money we're supposed to pay for our books or something. And I worked at McDonald's, and I said, well, I have the money, and I didn't know the guy. It wasn't like he was my boyfriend or anything. And she said, oh, shut up, Bryan. Shut up. I was like, and then she humiliated, wouldn't let him take the test. He couldn't take the final exam. That was so ignorant. It's wrong. So those are the kind of, we don't have a safe place. We can't run to their environment and be safe. And then you can't run to our own. We have to make a commitment to just making sure that at least when your kids leave your house, they have on a helmet of love, a huge helmet and a whole full armor of just love and positivity that you can make it. And don't allow any doubt that you have in yourself to seep through to them. We have to check ourselves and make sure that we know what we're capable of so that we can give that to our kids because they deserve that. Yes. Twyla said the curriculum needs a massive overhaul. That's so true. But y'all, I don't know how I've talked this long. I apologize. You all are the best. You all are the best. I went there past it. Look, sharing what welfare means. Well, we know what welfare is now. But I just appreciate you all so much. I have been. I just appreciate y'all. I don't have any idea. Look at me. Like I'm glowing and everything. I'm feeling great. My child graduated from high school today, y'all. And I'm so excited for her. So yes, indeed. Yes, yes, yes. Yes. Thank you all for everything. Let me know if you ever need me. I'm at jb@afroeconomics.com or jb@jbbryan.com. Go to the website, please click like on the Afroeconomics with JB Bryan Facebook page. We also have our YouTube page full of videos. Just knowledge should not be anything that we're lacking, right? But let's continue. If you ever run into an article and you would like for me to know about it, want to talk about it, please feel free to share it with me. Thank you, Monica. I will tell her. I can't believe it's been 18 years. I just can't believe it, Miss Burchett. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. I can't. And if somebody had told me it would be in the middle of a pandemic and all of that, and oh my goodness. But we are making it through. We are making it through. Thank you. And she's going on to Penn State, and I'm excited about her going out of state. My mom is like, no, but I'm excited about it. I'm excited about it, and she'll be between my DC and my New York office, and that'll be great. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Uh-oh. Tyler lives in Pennsylvania. I love it. Oh, wow. Well, we would definitely, I will definitely miss her being away. But before y'all know it, you'll be like, JB, you've moved your studio. Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Yeah, I'm excited for her. Oh, wow. 3 miles outside of Maryland is Pennsylvania. Isn't that something? That's right. Yes, indeed. That's. I mean, I guess if somebody lives one step away, right? Somebody's backyard in Maryland goes up to Pennsylvania. You could spend a lot of time just studying the map. But you all are the best. I appreciate you all so much. Dr. Williams, I will indeed check my inbox and get those things together. Yes, indeed. Because they told me, Dr. Williams, that we couldn't give you the exact number of Walmart Employee Awards because it was too close. I bet the next 4 years will go by fast. I know you're trying to get that award. He's like, y'all better give me, look, you know how my awards go. He'd be like, oh my goodness, she never even sent it. I would, but make sure you all know that you are appreciated and I am just a call away, and I'll do whatever I can to make sure that I answer any question that you have. Call my assistant. My assistant is Chelsea, and 1-844 JB Bryan, 1-844-522-7926. And I look forward to continue to build. Y'all have a wonderful, wonderful week. Let's continue to build together. Thank you. Thank you. Have a good night. Blessings to you. Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Johnson. To see you. Hi, Kenya. Hi, Ms. Jones. There you go. Have a good night. Come here. Y'all want to see the graduate? She came in here. Look at her.
Hey
Every
guys.
say, look, some people say, congratulations. See, they did. They did. It was back here.
Wait,
Yeah, see,
really?
congrats.
Oh, thank
Yeah,
you.
I see you and her. See.
Thank you.
Oh.
Bye guys.
Good night, everybody. She asking me, can her friend sleep over? The social distancing thing is a challenge now. God protect us all.